Welcome to the Massachusetts UFO Filming and Research Team. I am your host, Damien Nicobod. I do investigations into odd lights in the sky every week or so from my bedroom. At night from somewhere around midnight to 2 a.m. For 1 hour usually, or half an hour, 45 minutes, depends on how much I want to do it that night. That all is variable depending on the investigation. The amount of time is not consistent. I do this because I've seen many weird lights in the sky. Every once in a while I've seen something that just isn't explainable. So I like to do investigations to see if I can spot something and get it on camera. This camera I'm recording this with is my old camera. I am getting a completely new one in the next few days. It's going to be much better than this. But I want to go into my investigative style right now with the old camera because I can't guarantee I can do this type of pre-investigation footage with the new one when I get it, because it might be too late to do it because I have to be alone in the house to do it. I can't do it when people are around for some reason I don't want to mention right now. I formed MUPHART after doing a whole bunch of night investigations under an old name, Paranormal Alliance. I started forming MUPHART after I noticed a strange flickering light in the sky earlier this year around August. And Paranormal Alliance was basically something that investigated paranormal stuff. I changed its name to MUPHART because I realized that UFOs would be my primary thing I would document on film with it, so it went away from doing paranormal investigations. I just changed the name to reflect that. I formed MUPHART to post the videos on my MUPHART's YouTube channel and to post it on a blog for it. It's not a real investigative group, just a place to find investigations that you can find through YouTube videos and so on. My investigative style is very strict and very scientifically based. It doesn't simply look for something I don't or can't explain and say it's a UFO right off the bat. It has to fail a whole bunch of tests before I say it's odd. I do a lot of screening of the objects I see. I check a program to see if it's a star. I check to see if it moves erratically, it changes colors or shape, appears or disappears. If it does any of those things, it's definitely unexplainable. If it stands totally still, then maybe, it's unexplainable. But if it doesn't, then it's definitely something else. If it's a star-like object on an overcast night when you can't see any other stars, then it by default is something very weird. So it can't be any of that stuff if it isn't. If you can see other stars, then it probably is a star. If it doesn't make a noise, then it's something weird usually, but not always. If Stellarium, my software to determine if it's a star, proves it's not a star, then that's something unusual, definitely. It has to, fail all these tests at once to be unusual. It's a very strict method. I also have methods to determine if it's a plane, helicopter, whatnot. A plane usually has two blinking lights, a red and a white one. If it doesn't have both of those lights, it's not a plane. And usually you will see the lights flash as it moves through the sky. You can keep track of it over a long period of time. It won't just blink once and then stop. A helicopter, you usually hear a helicopter. They are so loud it's hard to hear them. If it's really far away, it might not be a helicopter. So basically, I'm trying to look for things I think are odd, and I'm trying to post it onto YouTube, kind of like a Ghost Hunters type style, where the entire thing is filmed like a reality show, just for you people out there who are really into this stuff. Well, it's come. The camera, I want to just quickly show it off. It's a Sony DCR SX65 digital camcorder. It turns on when you pull out the LCD screen. It has some very nice features on it. First of all, the picture quality in this thing is amazing. And I know it's not very easy to see, but it's also the zoom on it is amazing. You can zoom way in. It's at max zoom now, and you can zoom really far with this camera. I don't know if it's as good as some of the other cameras I've seen, but it is good. Its low light abilities are also very impressive. It's extremely good in dark places. And charging it is a cinch. All you do is take this USB cable here and plug it into your computer and wait a few minutes and it's charged. Or a few hours. It has built-in light in it so you can illuminate dark areas while filming, which is always useful, especially for me. Know what I'm doing. I need to have a light source sometimes. Overall, I think this is a damn good camera, and it came today, and I'm really impressed with it. I really like the features of this thing, and this will make investigations much easier for me. Now I want to show off the camera, but I'm going to start filming with it, and you're going to see the difference right away between this and the old camera, so stay tuned. Okay, we're now filming with the new camera, and you can see the graphic quality in this is much better than the old one. It's much, much better. And I want to test it with a few things to see how it does first. So the first test is to see can this pick up any kind of infrared light. And no, it cannot. That's unfortunate, but it's not really something you need to have it pick up. Actually, it might be able to. I don't know if that's infrared light it's seeing now. Yeah, it might be picking it up. That is useful. Now I want to show it off in front of a nearby window to show you the difference. But first I want to grab my other camera. My old one, the one Mom owns. And hold on. This is what the old camera picks up. Not much. Zoom on's terrible, you don't really see much with it. It's adequate, but not great, honestly. Here's the new one. With an incredible zoom, you can zoom all the way in. It gets quite blurry. And if I turn off the lights, you don't see a star right there. I can actually see starlight really well. This is a much better quality camera than the old one. I can see much better with this. Now, it's still not perfect at night. If there's an area that's not very well illuminated, it won't pick it up. That's just normal. This thing isn't a magic tool for picking up dark areas. But overall, it's a massive improvement over the old one, I think. Now to test its auto slow shutter feature, which makes it even better in dark areas. You can see it's very bright out there. This is required to do any kind of night shot. It's even brighter than the old one, and it's not much slower, which is great. It's an incredible camera at night. I'm seeing all the light sources. The old one, I would never see half of them. It would only pick up the brightest. This one picks up everything. It's an incredible camera. And it will pick up starlight too, which is great. So there's nothing this won't pick up. Pretty damn good camera. Overall, I really like the way this is compared to the old one. The improvement at nighttime is just fantastic. It's not perfect at night, but I didn't expect that. But it's really, really good at night. It's better than I ever expected, honestly. I didn't expect it to pick up starlight, and it did. I did a little test beforehand to see if it could, and it can. So it's pretty damn good camera for that kind of thing. Not that there's much to see out there tonight, but we should try tomorrow night and it'll be clear. So that will be probably what I do. Okay, I'm in my room. It's around 1:19 in the morning. This is the night time investigation period of this investigation. This is being filmed with a new camera. I plan to make this area work properly, and this is how I have to do it. It's too bright to see anything outside now, so I have to, first of all, my sneakers, I don't need them. Put my light underneath there. take the pillow and stick it in front so now I can see the night sky. Like always, I'm not going to report anything unless I see something out of the ordinary. So for now, signing off. There is a peculiar flickering star in the east-northeast direction, about 40 degrees up at 1:30 a.m. I think it's just a star, I just don't know. I'll check to see if something is in its position in Stellarium tomorrow. Okay, I'm filming this mysterious light. See if you can see it. Flickering way too bright to be a star. I don't know. It's on film now. Zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is a star or not. We'll find out tomorrow. It's extremely bright, whatever it is. Okay, the object in the sky is hovering directly over a tree I see outside. A big, spready type tree. On the left-hand side, but not on the immediate left-hand side, kind of like 1/4 of the way in. We'll test it again at 1:51 to see if it moves. Update, it's now around 2:02 in the morning. The thing is roughly east-northeast, a little bit to the right of that actually. Pretty high in the sky, maybe around 40 to 35 degrees up. Very bright, flickering quite a bit. No other stars are visible in the sky tonight. This is very suspicious. Normally when I see a few stars that are visible, and I see one that's extremely bright and the rest aren't, I get very suspicious. If I saw more than one, I would say, yeah, this is just a star. But this is different. This is just very off the wall. I'll verify tomorrow if it's a star or not. I just saw the weirdest thing. There was a light hovering through the trees east-northeast from me going left. I didn't catch it on film. I tried. I failed miserably. And that was the weirdest thing I've seen. I've never seen a UFO fly that low. And it wasn't anything but a UFO. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a helicopter. It was silent and it was moving way too slow to be anything that could be explained. I don't know. I definitely got some weird stuff tonight, but I caught one on camera but missed one. It's been frustrating. But I had a much better time than in the last investigation. At least I got something on camera, you know? It's better than nothing. Well, that's the end of this update. Okay, people. This is the next day right now. I just want to briefly show you where I saw the object last night. Right around here, I'd like to say, is where I was flying through like this. Moving much slower than this, though, and it wasn't hovering up and down, just going right and left. It was right in the trees. There, going left like that. It made no sound. It didn't have any blinking lights on it. It couldn't be a plane, it couldn't be a helicopter. It moved so slowly it can't be any of those. It was literally moving at this speed. Not as slow as a star, but definitely slower than a plane. Or reflective kite, maybe? I don't know. Very weird sighting, I'll say that right now. Well, I have some interesting results for this investigation. First of all, I didn't capture the second UFO on film. I tried, but it's one of those things moving through the trees. And when you get those kinds of UFOs that move through the trees, you have to be very lucky to get them on film because they're only visible for a few seconds at a time to even a split second because there's not too much space between the trees. So a lot of times you see it, you try to film it, and you fail to film it. However, here's the interesting thing. I did a little test with the program Stellarium and looked at the object I filmed last night, the thing I thought was maybe a star, but probably not. It was in the right direction to be the star Arcturus, but it wasn't in the right height. And I did a little test to see this, to see which height it was at. Let me quickly show it off here. Here's a screenshot. Most of it was taken with Stellarium, but the right-hand portion was taken with my camera. It's actually something copied and pasted in from another image, an image of the window I took this morning that I saw this thing out of. Here is Arcturus right here. Okay, this is about 20 degrees up an angle. Alright, that is too low, because I had to align the bottom of this with the bottom of the Stellarium screenshot. It is too low to be the UFO. The UFO is up here. Whatever this was not a star. It's in the wrong height. There's no star up there that's bright enough to be that. And all the other stars were so much dimmer than this star that you couldn't see any of them. And I didn't think you'd be able to see Arcturus either. It was so dim that that night. The starlight was so dim that night. It was a very, very hard to see night for stars. Stars just didn't show up. It was so foggy out. So whatever this wasn't a star, and I think I actually got film of a UFO this time. Which is huge, because I was expecting this thing to be Arcturus. And I was saying, oh, this is Arcturus, I shouldn't even continue with this and say I filmed the star and didn't bother filming a UFO and I completely failed. And then I said, let's look at the height of this, and that's what saved the day. And Arcturus is definitely not it. We caught film of a star-like UFO last night on camera. Definitely an interesting film. Definitely. And I know Arcturus is a bright star, but it ain't bright enough to be this. And this thing was flickering at different brightness levels all the time. It was getting brighter and dimmer and brighter and dimmer, and it was very, very bright object. It was very difficult to film, actually. The camera had a blockage right about here, which was actually the shade of my window, and I had to tuck the shade up to make it go a little bit higher so I could fit the camera underneath it, and I had to lower my feet and aim it up so you could see it. Tricky to do with this new camera. The old one I would have had a much better shot of doing it, but of course I wouldn't have picked it up because the new camera is so much better than the old one in terms of picking up dim objects. But yeah, this is the results. Definite UFO footage, people. Definite UFO footage. Enjoy.